Hello, everybody. My name's Nate Manahan, and we are live here in Indianapolis, Indiana, where I am going to be talking with two incredible saged advisors when it comes to starting into payments business. We're going to be talking about, how do you get started? Some tips, some trips, some ideas. I'm going to bring 5 things that I think that I've learned over the last 7 years that are really important to help people be successful, whether you're starting out for the first time in this business or you're restarting. We're here to help you. We're here to talk about what makes people the most successful, and we're here to just have some fun. All this in the high five. Let's get going.
The time has come, the questions are said, opinions hide, discussions are led, a show about nothing and everything, it's all the same. We've got sports, entertainment, sales, and marketing. It's time for the high five. We've got it all covered. It's time for the high five. We've got it all covered. Yeah. The high five.
The high five on a Wednesday afternoon when we are, see what's going on. But I'm going to bring up the top 3 people here in the payments business, the men who make things happen. On the far left-hand side, it is the man who's standing, who's got to get ready to get things going, who's just making things all happen, Mr. Danny Shard. Danny, how are you, sir?
Good afternoon. How are you, Nate? High Five Nation. It's a unique time for us. I'm happy to be on here this afternoon.
Hey, sometimes we just got to make it work. And you know what? The man who always makes things work, keeps all things happening, no matter what day it is. The last time we were on last Friday, he was dressed to the nines. Today, he's back to his T-shirt and his backwards hat, making all things feel normal, but at the same time, making it all better. Mr. Brian Linke, how are you, Brian?
I'm good, Nate. A little late in the day here. I'm usually napping at this time. Danny always calls me around this time to wake me up. But I knew the high five was today, so I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
What's with the T-shirts? Nate's got the dress up today. I'm usually in a golf shirt, and you're all over the place.
Yeah, Brian wearing the T-shirt there. Look at that.
I like it.
Okay. Why is it that you have to put me down to make yourself feel better? Why?
It's just how we banter.
I don't get it. Okay, and let me tell you something. This is not a T-shirt. This is like you could wear this under a sport coat.
There you go. See, secretly, what you don't know is he has a sport coat hiding on that orange couch.
Well, I don't have a sport coat today, but if I did have one, I could wear it.
Well, you could. You could pull it off. All right. Well, gentlemen, today we are going to talk about how do you get started. And I just thought I'm going to bring up some ideas. So I came up and sat down. I came up with a 7 or 8, and I put 5 of them together of things that I think are extremely important when people are just getting started out in this industry, just getting started out in merchant services, selling point of sale, helping out merchants across the U.S. with their credit card processing and all their payment needs, and really just running their businesses and what things are so important to do that. So I'm going to give some ideas, and you tell me whether you think, what do you think of this? How important is it? Is it not important? And so we'll see. So I'm going to start with number 1. The number 1 thing that I think when people are just starting out is get a mentor. Don't just do it by yourself. Connect to someone who is done this before, knows a little more than you, and helps you along the way, can become a soundboard to you. Brian, Danny, let's go with Danny first. What do you think? How important is getting a mentor in this industry to being to your ultimate success?
It is of the utmost importance. It is the only way that I even remotely got this industry, especially as I got started in it. I had several people to lean on that helped me just get a big picture understanding, as well as work through each unique scenario that comes up in this wonderful world of payments. You got to have a mentor. You got to have some guidance. You got to have some people to lean on to help you navigate through all this.
Absolutely. And Brian, how about you? When you're good, because when you think of mentor, what are the things and the keys for finding a mentor in this business and really just in life as a general? What are things that are important to identifying the right mentor to being successful?
Well, when I first started at PayPartech, it didn't take me long. This is well before Danny Shard was with us. Now I ride his coattails. But when I first got in this business, I came into the office, and right away I knew that there's a guy by the name of Billy West in this office that knows more about everything to do with this industry We've got Danny and Billy, who are probably the two most knowledgeable people that we've got. And Danny wasn't here yet, so obviously I couldn't lean on him. But you can ask Billy West himself. I went right up to him because I have no shame in asking, and I just said, "All right, man, I need you to go with me on every single appointment." And he looked at me and goes, "No problem." And I'm like, "Really?" I go, "Okay, so I'm okay. So when I come up to you and I ask you, you're going to go with me, right?" And he's like, "Absolutely." And he did it. And it's the only reason that I was able to stay with it at the beginning is because I wasn't scared to ask. Again, the two best in the industry, and Danny wasn't with us yet, and Billy came and just about every single merchant we walked into, I had already done the cold call, but then I needed him back with me to help me with the analysis and the pricing and so it was forecast discount before POS, and Billy did it, and without him, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it.
So how do you find the right mentor? How do you find, obviously it could change for Brian. For you, it's the staff you're joining, but for most of our people, they're independent sales organizations, they're independent teams, and who they mentor or chose to be mentored is going to change as they grow. But how do you choose that, Danny? How do you find someone who can help meet the needs of where you're at, and how do you identify the right person?
It's a good question. I mean, when you're initially partnering with the ISO, most cases, like what we do here at Papertech, is you're given a relationship manager, right? This is an expert in all things Papertech, as well as the industry, to help guide partners on all the different scenarios and opportunities that they come across. Now, there has to be a sense of camaraderie, right? And understanding of what your approach is, what kind of person you are, what kind of sales approach you like to take, to really kind of understand who you are as a salesperson, to help kind of guide you in the best approaches to help you close as much business as possible. So it might not be the relationship manager that you're initially assigned. It could be the sales director. It could be the tech support manager. It could be a variety of different people in that organization that you've partnered with to help with that. In sales in general, right, I think having a mentor is key, right? About just having people to lean on to go through all the different scenarios and bounce ideas off of. I mean, that's incredibly important. And I would view that person as a mentor as well, more or less a sidekick or a comrade, if you will, right? But someone that you can bounce ideas off of can be considered a mentor, and that can be anyone, not necessarily the ISO partner that you're working with. But I think having that person in your corner, initially it's given to you, but then identifying it's working through a team of people and finding, who's the person that understands you the most, understands your sales approach, the types of merchants you're going after, and who do you feel is going to be the best one to guide you. A lot of partners, what I find is they take a few different approaches, right? So they'll have several different mentors or people that they'll lean on for guidance, and they'll kind of compile all of those different takes, if you will, from those individuals on a certain situation, and then kind of go from there and make it their own. So I don't necessarily think that having one mentor is the way to go. I think having a good team surrounding you and getting a few different takes on how things can be approached is really of benefit to you.
Well, and I think so much about life is just making sure you have a sounding board of people and surrounding.
Sounding board. Yeah, that's the word.
To be able to talk through. All right, so let's go to number 2, because I have another one that kind of touches on this mentor. But my number 2, when just starting out, for me, and this is what is just start with just one. I always hear these, okay, well, I want to go to this, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, just learn the process by starting with one merchant. Go after just one. And maybe it'll take you 4 people to go after, but go after just one. Gentlemen, what do you think about that? Like, when getting started, I think sometimes we make it too complicated. Just find one merchant, understand then how to do the application for that one merchant, what setup they need for that one merchant, and just start with one instead of trying to understand everything like a Papertech or whatever company you're partnering with has to offer.
I'm up in the air on that one, Nate.
Okay. All right.
And just because I just think that you know what, if I can elaborate on that, I think maybe not one merchant, but maybe one industry. right? So like, if you're going to go, we've got a guy here, outside sales, his name is Mike Thornsberg, and he has made a living on liquor stores. And he goes in there. He knows the POSs that will work in a liquor store. He knows that liquor stores are definitely open to the cash discount programs. Excuse me. And so he has picked out one industry. So I'm not sure it's a merchant that you're after, because this job is tough, and if you're going to just try to one guy, I mean you're swinging, and you better hit it, because if you get thrown a curveball, you're going to strike out. So I think just to if we're going to go on that topic, I think that it's an industry or two that you want to maybe get your hands around and learn that industry and what works in those places.
Well, and what I wasn't saying is just go after one particular merchant, but get that first one done, that first complete merchant done. Instead of standing back and saying, I want to know how the whole application process and how the whole activation process, and I want to know how the whole POS team works, and I want to know how it works for restaurants versus law offices versus everything. I want to just get that first one done. And it may take several industries, but getting that first one done is so important to the success, instead of sitting back and trying to feel like you have to know everything and have all the information. Just find that first merchant you can get that success with. What do you think, Danny, between what Brian and I were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with both of you guys to a certain extent. I think, Nate, I think this can be taken a few different ways. And I talk to partners about it all the time, and what you're really getting at with start with just one is do your best to avoid the information overload, right? As you're getting into this industry and as you're partnering with a company or maybe a couple of different companies, depending on the types of accounts you have to board, and maybe you need a few different avenues. But being fairly new to the industry, you're getting so much information thrown at you on different processes, portals, applications, pricing structures, equipment options, there's just unlimited amount of equipment options out there. I mean, as a partner, you want to be an expert. You want to know what you have available, but start with just one. Like you're saying, Nate, start with just one merchant, right? So avoid that information overload. Lean on your mentor, lean on your relationship managers, help them guide you, kind of know the high level talking points of what you're doing, right? Get the foundation laid, understand your industry, understand from a high level what you've got available. Don't dive in too far into the details, because I'm telling you, I see more partners that get into this business that end up failing because they spend way too much time trying to become experts, right? Trying to get their PhD in merchant services before they're making a single sale. And that, I think, is a recipe for disaster, just really not seeing success as quickly as you want to, because you're trying to learn too much at once, and retaining that much information without the experience, that can be a downfall, right? The experience in this industry is key. It's constantly changing. So start with just one. I like Brian's take on it. Start with just one industry too. I mean, that definitely has its advantages. As you sign, for example, a couple of restaurants, right? You know what those merchants are looking for. Maybe you're not completely equipped and knowledgeable on what retail merchants need, or what B2B merchants are looking for, or e-commerce merchants are looking for, but you've signed up one or two restaurants. So if you're comfortable in there, in that, vertical, if you will, that's okay. Kind of stick in that as you're kind of gaining more knowledge, right? And each restaurant can be different as well, from the systems they need, to the pricing they're setting up, to the features they need in those systems, how many employees, the size. There's a lot of different things that can go on with just that single vertical. So try not to get too overwhelmed with everything that's available. Start with just one. But like you're saying, Nate, you got to start with one merchant, right? You got to break the ice and try not to learn everything at once. This can be a learn as you go business, as you kind of get that foundation laid for you, and lean on your mentors, lean on your relationship managers. And that's the guidance that you'll need to get the sales done and to learn as you go to approach other industries and get more merchants.
When I first got into this business, and I still do it today, I've often said, I don't know the answers to anything, right? But I know everybody else who does. Right. So if you can approach it like that, and learn as you go, but know the people who know the most, you'll be fine.
I love that approach actually. And really, I think a lot of merchants appreciate that honesty, but know that, the way Brian approaches it and how he's been able to be so successful is literally approaching merchants with honesty and integrity and selling yourself, right? Selling on service. You're going to be there to support them in every way that they need. But if they're asking for specifics on features of that point of sale system, I think any partner, and Brian is the best at this, is saying, you know what? I'm not the guy for that. I've got a team of experts. Let me get them in touch with you, and we're going to get these answers for you. Merchants appreciate that more than someone that tries to be an expert and make up answers or constantly going back and forth. So I think just being honest with them, having that relationship, and leaning on a team, merchants appreciate that.
People are so funny to me sometimes because they want to be the guy that knows it all. Well, okay,
Right.
I've never been that guy. Okay, but you just can't be scared to ask. And the other thing is like Danny just said, you know what? Merchants appreciate the honesty. You're selling yourself first, right? So you're not jumping into the specifics of a point of sale system. You've already sold yourself first. So your merchants already, you've earned their trust. They've earned your trust. And now we're into a conversation. And sure, you know what? Point of sale, this does that. Okay, fine. And you can even go one step further, and you can put them in touch with, through, you can call the point of sale people or send in the POSlead.com and do that for them, and then put them in touch. And I'm telling you right now, you'll sell a lot more.
All right, I'm going to move to two of them together, and because they kind of I want to play off of each other. So number 3 here is to join groups, and what I mean by that is there are masterminds and local communities. If you're part of a larger group, there are Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups that you can join. But I also say this, you need to be discerning because you can get a lot of bad information. I see this. I think I counted 8 or 9, I can't remember exactly what it was, different merchant services and POS groups on Facebook, and then like 4 or 5 on LinkedIn. And I see lots of people, and I know you guys are part of these groups too, and you see them, they jump in, I'm new to this industry, tell me how. But I think the key is that you have to find some type of base. It's probably tied back to the mentor piece. But one, do you guys agree that it's not bad to join these groups, but you also have to be very discerning and be part of trying to figure out how do we make this work, and how do you decide who has good ideas and not when you're just getting started in this industry and there are literally 100,000 people that are doing what you do, but only probably 3,000 to 5,000 people that are really good at it. How do you discern that?
It's a great question, and you're right. There are a lot of groups, and a lot of times, especially like on Facebook, on some of the partnering groups, I actually find it entertaining sometimes just to read what a lot of people say. There was actually a post the other night on a cash advance crazy thing that I actually shared it with Danny, and it was just so far-fetched. It was like there's just no way it could happen, and it couldn't have been real, but anyway, but somebody did post it. But again, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think LinkedIn, I think, is a really, really good tool to jump on. I know Danny has signed a lot of partners. I actually just got one through LinkedIn, and talking to those people. But again, we've got a lot of really good people here at PayProTech that you can lean on. You just have to be willing to, one of the things, and again, he's going to kill me, but partners at PayProTech. Okay, that email address, you can get answers to just about everything. Danny Shard, myself. I mean, we just have Billy West. I mean, we just have so many people in here that just know so much. And again, the girls are just amazing. Jason Lee Cook and Jenny Rickle and Pamela Bailey and Jen Sales. I mean, between all of us in here, I mean, if you can't learn something, Nate Manahan, right? I mean, if you can't learn
Nate Manahan.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't learn from us, I mean, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with joining those groups and reading and seeing what other people are saying. But again, I think that when it comes down to it, if you want to, lean on the people at PayProTech and ask the questions here. And I'm telling you right now, you'll do so much better.
Which I totally agree, and that's why I do work at PayProTech. But Danny, we have lots of our partners who are just starting out, who haven't had any business in merchant services, or they're just getting started maybe again and did it back in the early 2000s, and maybe haven't fully, they're learning whether they can trust us, and they will learn that they can, but there's lots of noise out there. How do they discern what is the right noise, or do you just, is the right thing just to totally stay out of it and only choose a few people? How do you balance that? Because I see so many people getting involved in these groups and discerning and bad ideas, and I'm interested in what your thoughts are on that.
And I forgot the coach. I didn't mean, believe me, I'll get a phone call here as soon as this is over. So yeah, lean on the coach, Mike Stetzel, because again, he's as knowledgeable as any of them.
Well, and he'll be happy with my last slide. So, but Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, I really love this question, and I actually talked to a partner about this yesterday, and it was a new partner that just signed up with us, just got his approval just a few minutes ago while we've been on the high five here. So I think right now in our industry, it is the toughest thing for somebody to come into this industry now more than ever before. ISOs are coming up and popping out from everywhere. We can thank programs like Edge and Cash Discounts for really pumping the industry up. And now with the technology and programs like that, we're seeing ISOs just come out of everywhere, right? There's brand new names, brand new companies. And as a partner that's seeing the advantages, having some of the relationships that you've got with business owners and saying, I need to take advantage of this. I need to get into this payment processing industry. Where do you start, right? And it's tough. So especially as you're looking, you have to pre-vet not just the companies, but the individuals you're talking to, right? So there's things that you need to do from a certain standpoint to find out who these people are and who these companies are that you're going to be working with. If you're not able to find info, that's a problem. Our industry is known to have, just like any industry is, right? You've got good ones and you've got bad ones. And it's important to try to find the good ones, right? And it's tough to kind of weed through, well, how do I know that they're a good one or a bad one, right? There is a certain leap of faith that partners have to do as they're partnering up with a company. But there's a lot of due diligence that you can do on the front end to try to make sure you're making the right decision, right? How long has the company been established? Do they have any reviews online? Are we willing to share any other partners that can share their current experiences with them? Pre-vet the people that you're talking to, from myself, Brian Linke, Nate Manahan, Billy West, the people that you see, at least initially, Matt Hoskins, as you come in to starting to look at PayProTech, look at who we are and how long we've been at the industry as well. That's going to show you a lot about that company and about the people and how much you can trust the way things are done, right? This industry is saturated, and finding the right partners can be difficult. You've got to make sure not only do you have the right partners, but you've got the right programs, you've got the flexibility you need, you've got the comp structures you need. It's all about making money, right? We're here to support partners. We're here to close merchant accounts. We're here to make merchants money. We're here to make money ourselves with our partners. So we've got to make sure that that's a heavy part of it. So you've got to have a lot of these factors in to make the right decision. So do you have the equipment solutions and the variety you need? Do you have the pricing structures? Do you have the support? Do you have the training modules that you need to help you get up and running quickly? There's a lot of things like that that partners don't seem to look at enough. I find a lot of people, they get into this industry and they're immediately looking for the higher residual split. Well, what they're forgetting to realize is that they're cutting themselves short on a lot of those key factors. If you get a higher residual split, you get less support, right? You might have less equipment functions. You might have less pricing flexibility. And you need all of that to be successful and to cater to all the merchants that you need. Being new to the business, you've got to have all of these factors to be successful. So try your best, have conversations. Don't be afraid to talk to multiple companies and ask them the questions, right? They're interviewing you, but you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you, right? You're trying to find the right partner, and that's the way that it should be. It should be a true partnership. So ask the questions. And I told this partner yesterday, is I encourage you to talk to a few different companies and kind of get a feel for how they're communicating to you, how they're presenting their program, if they're flexible in the way that they compensate you. Are you vested from day one? Do you have, production requirements and things like that? There's a lot of things that partners should be asking, but being new to the industry, they just don't know what to ask, right? So Asking the right questions, I think, is important too, but just make sure that you've got a well-rounded option. And being with a couple different companies isn't a bad thing, but finding the right company can be hard, and you got to ask the right questions to find them.
And then we'll kind of group all this together here in a second, because the last question I'm going to ask you guys is, what have I left out? When we're going to leave a lot of things out on what to get started. But the last thing I was thinking here is simply that you want to spend time with a coach.
With the coach.
You know,
that's a good one.
And I want to make a different differentiation. We started out with mentoring, and I see a mentor as someone who's going to help you think big picture, help you understand directions, help you make a choice about sales. But a coach is a person who helps you figure out, okay, this is how you get from point A to point B, from point B to B.1, B.2, and helps you take some of those baby steps and helps you go from crawl to walk. But I think getting a coach and making sure you're having someone who's walking alongside of you to get through the minutia and understand the whole systems. And in our Papertech world, we actually have a position we call coach. How important is it to have that differentiation between someone who's mentoring you and then working with a company that's going to be coaching you? Brian, what do you think?
Well, again, and it's a huge selling point for me when I'm talking to agents about what separates us from a lot of our competitors. And we can talk about the point of sale team, and they're amazing, right? Matt Proctor and Bob Kramer, Morgan Nordmeyer. I mean, unbelievable. It's something that most, if not all, I don't know of anybody else who has people like that. Our white label branding program separates us. These are the things that, are the cash discount. But I think the biggest thing that you get, and again, we've recruited a couple of partners here lately just because they weren't getting any support. And we have done just an amazing job here. And it hasn't always been that way. We haven't always been an agent support type team until Danny Shard came along and told us we were doing it all wrong. Actually we had to fail first, right? Before Danny even came on board, with the whole merchant thing and becoming basically a cancellation office in this office. And we did a 360 and now, if you're a partner, you can tell me till you're blue in the face about this and that, and the residual, I'm getting 95%. And, I'll give you the standard answer when somebody says it to me. Somebody's like, okay, I'm getting 95. Well, what are you calling me for? If you get 90, I mean, what do you want me to do? Give you 100? I'll just give you the whole company. So basically the support that you get, and again, I'm glad, don't make his head too big, Nate, but the coach is obviously a huge part of what we're doing here. The relationship managers, Danny, myself, you, Nate, the marketing guys, and then behind the scenes people. So the support that you get here is something that I know is not being done elsewhere.
Well, and I think there's such a role between, you have people who are helping you think big picture, like a Danny, Billy, Brian, yourself, and then there's people who are going to come alongside of partners and actually coach. So we have that role coach, and Mike really Coach Mike does that from the beginning a lot of times with partners, but also, all of our teammates and our partner relationship are a coaching mentality, and they're trying to make sure that you know how to get through each step, whether it's the POS team or all of our wonderful relationship managers. Why is coaching so important, Danny?
I mean, it's one of the biggest positions we have, right? So with coaching, Brian, he's coached sports teams for, 30 years. And it's a loaded word, right? So when we've got all of our senior relationship managers, our folks that work with partners every day, they are also coaches in a certain sense. We gave that title, for Coach Mike for a reason. And that's, you're not just initially educating partners on, portals and training. I mean, that's kind of the rough outline of the position, but coaching is a lot more than that, right? You're mentoring, you're guiding, you're educating, you're training, you're being a sounding board, right? As a coach, you are 100 different things. You wear how many different hats, Brian? as a coach, you have so much more to do than just train, just go to practice, just educate, right? There's so much more to the position than that. And I can't encourage partners enough as you're coming in to lean on the coach just as heavily as you are any of us on our team. Just with his knowledge and expertise on processes and systems and best approaches. And, even going as far as being new to this business, sometimes you need a different voice, right? You need somebody to help you as you're talking through those situations with merchants. We've all helped partners close their first deal. Coach is great at that as well. So it's something that all of us want to do. We all want to be the coach. There can only be one coach. But I think in a way we're all coaching to a certain sense.
Well, right, and again, I tell partners this all the time. He will spend as little or as much time with you as you'd like. You can schedule a time with him, and he reaches out to you first. But if you need more of it, you'll have his email address, his phone number when you talk to him, and again, lean on him because he's definitely a good source. And
the point of our program is we want to make partners as knowledgeable and as self-sufficient as possible, right? So we got our program designed from application submissions to the way you can submit support tickets through our portals, to accessing marketing material, to requesting documents. I mean, everything that we've got, we've created to make partners as self-sufficient as possible. We have several high-producing agent offices that we rarely talk to. We might talk to whenever they've got a difficult situation or a unique situation. They're just looking for some guidance on how to board it with us or get through it with what they're dealing with. But on the regular day-to-day, they know the business, they have complete access to all the tools available to them, and they're off and running, which is great. Our team is here to help partners that either come across more unique scenarios than others, new to the business, or just really kind of need that extra guidance and need that extra assistance. And that's, we want to be there to support you at any level that you need the support in. So you can be as self-sufficient as you need to be, and we can train you to get there. Or you can do things as a one-off. We still have partners that request us to create applications for them before they go out and submit an app every time. That's okay. It's really what you're comfortable with, and we can help you. As long as you can sell and close, we'll help you with any direction you want and as much as you need it or as little as you need it.
All right, as we wrap up today, these aren't all things that you need to get going, but this was the big idea pictures of some key things that will really help people when you're starting out in this payments industry, when you're getting going, getting started. What did I miss today, guys? What are one or two things that you say, man, this is what's key to getting someone out of the gate and getting going fast?
I'll tell you what one of the keys is to get out of bed. Okay, get out of bed, take a shower, get dressed, and get out there and start getting yourself in front of some merchants, because it's the only way you're going to sell something. To sit back and again, the things that we offer are amazing. But the videos and stuff like that, everyone, I've talked to a guy the other day who's like, I'm here watching videos. Okay, well, you know what? I get it. But videos you can watch in the evening, on the weekends. Get out there. You can't be scared. Get out in front of merchants, because if you don't ask, you're never going to get.
All right. Danny, how about you?
I love that. The hardest door to open is your own.
Right.
I think that's one of the first things I even learned in sales, right? You get every sale that you don't approach or that you don't even go after. So I love that. I would say a couple things as far as, I think there's a huge benefit to joining groups. Nate, I think you had some information on this, or we had talked about it. But joining groups, whether it's referral partnership groups, chambers, business groups online, or locally, can be huge, right? Not just in enhancing your education in the industry, but also getting yourself out there more, right? And opening yourself up for more opportunities. And it's just more connections, right? So I encourage a lot of folks doing BNI, chamber groups. There's a lot of groups out there that can really get you out there and dealing in business conversations on a regular basis. And it's massive what doors those groups can open to you, whether it's online or face-to-face in some of these local groups. The other thing I'll talk about is, I just had it. Let me think. is starting with familiarity, right? So I think a lot of folks that don't see a lot of success in the industry as they're getting started is they're starting cold, right? Now I know not everybody has a Rolodex or has a lot of connections with business owners, but if you sit down and think about it, you've got more than you realize, right? And I think what people fail to do is leverage that as you're getting into this business. So whether you've got those contacts and you're just looking to start getting them going, obviously you start there, right? Those are the low hanging fruit, the ones that you're already comfortable with, and the ones that you can really get a few deals under your belt to kind of break that ice, get familiar with the processes and everything without a lot of the pressure of signing up a new merchant that you don't even know. If you don't feel like you've got any, sit down and think about it. You've got friends, you've got family members who also know business owners. So don't be afraid to ask your inner circles about, hey, do you know any business owners that you can refer me to? Because if you can get a reference for some of your first deals, that could be massive. And that can really help you in really breaking the ice and getting some deals under your belt. There's a lot to talk about this. I love this topic today, Nate. And there's a lot that partners can do to get out there and get started in this industry. And I think it's just important that we use what's around us and don't be afraid to approach those merchants that we're already close to. Those are the ones that we should sign first, and they can really help us get the training under belt we need to build further. So.
All right, as we wrap up, we'll give some closing wisdom. I want to remind you that you can watch this live. I see Bradley is jumping in. In fact, I'll give him one of his comments here. Let me pull it up here. He said, I signed my first merchant I saw and had them for years. So get out there, you learn as you go. And what we love is when people are watching live with us. But the best way to do that is because we don't do this at the same time every week and every day. In fact, today we were planning to do this morning. We had some schedule conflicts. We were able to move to this afternoon. Is go to Facebook and tell them to give an alert every time Papertech goes live, or go to YouTube, hit subscribe, just search My Papertech in YouTube. Hit subscribe and ring that bell, and then every time we go live, you'll get an alert. That'll just make life easy, and then you come join us live.
Brian Linke can do it. You can do it. I'm telling you, set an alert. It's very easy to do, and that way you can hear from us when we come at you at the odd hours of the day throughout the week.
Hey, did you mention the word Rolodex?
I did. Yes.
Because let me tell you something. I was the Rolodex king.
Who still has a Rolodex on their desk? I wish we could pull up a quick picture of a Rolodex. Because
I started out with a shoebox with index cards with 1 through 31, with January through December. Okay. And if I cold called a guy and I, had a meeting with him below, and I would write it down on the 2nd of the month, and then I put it in for the 13th under the thing. So then I'd wake up on the 13th, I'd pull those cards out and I'd call those people on the 13th. Let me tell you something. You don't think that works? It works.
Back when you were selling phone books and selling copiers, I could totally see how that would work. Now, let's be honest, the follow-up is key to any industry, right? And having a process like that can be ideal. I think the Rolodex is still something that's an unforgotten gold, right? I mean, I think it's something that people can go back to basics and still benefit a lot from. Obviously, there's CRMs and there's a lot more advanced Rolodexes, but for some of the old school guys like Brian, you can have a Rolodex and it still works really well for you. So keep them.
Flip it.
All right. On that, we're going to close out. We're going to play some music as we close out. Gentlemen, start with Mr. Brian Linke. You've got 20 seconds. Tell us, inspire us, challenge us. What should we do on a Wednesday?
Again, every month it seems like we say the same thing, but August of 2020, we broke another record. Didn't beat it by much. July was the best month we ever had, but we beat it again in August. So things, if you're a partner, any partners that want to partner, Papertech, we got it going on here. So I don't think if I'm in this industry, there's not a better place to be.
Danny Shard.
It is, it's hump day. It's September 2nd. It's the last month of the third quarter of this crazy year. Like Brian said, we're hitting numbers every month. Take advantage. If we can help you, if you're currently a partner, lean on us. Let us help you. If you're not a partner, reach out to us. Danny at papertech.com, B Linky at papertech.com, and Manahan at papertech.com. Any of us, reach out to us, let us help, and become a partner. Let's start signing some business.
All right, and on that, we thank you guys very much for joining us. It's the High Five. We'll be back this Friday where we talk about how you can sell under a company's brand, like PaperTech's brand. Last week we talked about how to create your own brand. We're going to be specifically talking about how you can sell under someone else's brand and make it your own. All that's on the High Five. Thank you guys. High five, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day. It's the High Five. We're so thankful. Thanks for watching live. We will see you guys on Friday, I think around 10 a.m. Watch. Hey, hit that alert.